Well hit to center. Way back. A three-run home run from Matt Kemp. The Dodgers are back from the dead and leading it 3-2.
Fly ball left center field. Matt Kemp has done it again! To beat the champ, you've got to knock him out. The Dodgers take 3 of 4 from Arizona and are alone in first in the West.
What up? Welcome to Freeway Findings, everyone. Your home for LA sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are live in my studio after a very stressful yet amazing weekend for Dodgers fans. I'm recording about 4.5, 5 hours after the game. And I just wanted to relax a little bit after the game, so I wasn't as fired up as I was earlier. And let me just quickly say this before I start off with my quick little reaction to the Dodgers 3 out of 4 victory over Arizona. Matt Kemp's struggles post All-Star break have been forgiven. I mean, if you are still pissed at him for how he's been doing recently, I mean, pre this Arizona series, because he's not been doing that much, let it go. Let it go. So, in case you don't know what happened, or haven't been paying attention, or just aren't a Dodgers fan, let's take a look. On Friday night, the Dodgers were trailing Arizona 2-1 in the 7th. Kike Hernandez ties it with a home run. Justin Turner wins it with a home run in the 8th. And Kenley Jansen records his first save since he went on the disabled list back in... God, I don't even know what the date is. Probably something like August 17th. Just a rough estimate. I think it probably was earlier than that, but that's my rough estimate without having the date in front of me. So where does Matt Kemp come into the picture? So last night, Saturday night, the Dodgers were trailing Arizona 2-0 in the 8th. They'd been doing absolutely nothing on offense the entire game. So Matt Kemp comes up with runners on, and he does this. So today, the Dodgers got, once again, another outstanding performance from Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler, by the way, just a quick segue, is going to be the ace of this team at some point. I don't know exactly when, but it's probably going to be sooner rather than later, because Kershaw isn't going to have forever. But when Kershaw fades, Walker Buehler is going to be the guy. You can count on that. I will bet legit money on that, because I'm confident in his ability. So Arizona ties the game in the 7th. And then in the 9th, Daniel Descalso homers. Arizona has lead, and looks like, oh crap. Looks like we're just going to have to settle for a split. And then the man of the hour, Matt Kemp, comes up with 2 runners in scoring position and does this. And now all of a sudden the Dodgers are back in first place. So really, I just wanted to kind of talk about the Dodgers and how they've been since, the All-Star break. And really just talk about them in general and how they've been doing recently. So, as most people know, Kenley Jansen went on the disabled list back in August. Like I said, I don't have the date handy, but we don't need the date. So he goes on the disabled list. Dodger bullpen tanks. They lose several games. I forget what the exact number was. I think it was probably 5 or 6. They lost a series in Arizona 3 straight. They won the first game of the series and lost the next 3 because of terrible bullpen. The bullpen blew all 3 of those games. And I think in each of those games, the starters pitched great. So I have the statistics here. The Dodgers lost 5 straight games because of the bullpen. 3 in Colorado, 2 in San Francisco. And then they had 1, 2, 3 in Seattle. And then they lost 3 straight to the Cardinals. And on the 25th of August against San Diego, the bullpen coughed up a save opportunity, but they still won the game. But let's go all the way back to Thursday, August 23rd. The Dodgers had just lost 3 straight to the Cardinals in 10 of their last 12 games. Things were not looking good for the Dodgers. They had plummeted from first place down to third place, 4.5 behind Arizona and Colorado. And it was not looking good. And, right at this point was when I was starting to doubt this team. I was beginning to think in the back of my mind, is this really a realistic expectation that this team can win? Because let's be honest, it's been a really trying I don't even know, like probably, hell, even 12. Yeah, it's been a trying year or something like that. I mean, losing the World Series to Houston and then having the beginning of the season be as terrible as it was, and then come all the way back, recover from that lead, have frickin' Matt Kemp, and no one ever heard of him before, Max Muncy, carry you back from last place in your division. I mean, who expected that? Yeah, I definitely expected that happening. But to have all the drama associated with that, and then your all-star closer goes down with an injury, and it seems to affect the morale of the rest of your bullpen, to which no one can pitch. So, yeah, that's basically what the Dodgers season had been. It's been a roller coaster. It's been lows, and then highs, and then lows again. And now it's going back up to high. So it's been low, high, low, high. So, I mean, it's anyone's guess what the rest of September gives us. But going back to the 23rd, the Dodgers had just lost 10 of 12, 3 straight to St. Louis. All 3 losses were decided by the bullpen. Excuse me, it wasn't 10 of 12, it was 9 of 12, but still, it was not good. It's never good when you lose large stretches of baseball games. But so, the Dodgers were on their way to San Diego, which was the only redeeming quality about the upcoming weekend. They had a series against a team that was last place. And Joe Davis of Sportsnet LA had just said something recently about, it's important when you have these. Actually, no, he didn't say that before the series. He said that during the series. But he said it's important when you have these series against last place teams and you're in a tight division race like the Dodgers are, to win them. And this was a very important series for the Dodgers. And they swept it. Like I said, they did have bullpen trouble in Game 2. They still did sweep the series. That was a very big series victory for the Dodgers. So then the Dodgers go to Texas, and they win those 2 games against Texas. But just because you win 5 straight games against last place teams doesn't mean it's good, but it's not like, oh sweet, we just won 5 straight games against great teams. No. Any middle of the road team can do that. Like the San Francisco Giants could go and win 5 straight games against the Padres and the Texas Rangers, or the Washington Nationals could do that. Those are middle of the road, not playoff teams. It's not impressive when you go out and you beat up on the last place team. You have to prove it against good teams. And then they lose the first game at home against Arizona. And, over this period of, like, since the Cardinals series, like, during and after the Cardinals series, I was beginning to start to subscribe to some of the people, doom and gloom people on Twitter saying, oh, this team's terrible, like, no one wants it, we shouldn't have invested so much in this year, like, we shouldn't have traded for Machado, XYZ, stuff that people are going to say whenever the team isn't doing well. But, I mean, it really kind of felt like that it was carrying some water, and then I was going by one comment that I saw, it's not the end of the season yet. And my, not necessarily ultimatum, because I was still going to follow the team and still root for the team to do well, but I was kind of like, this weekend series against San Diego is going to be the deciding factor. Is if they lose this series to San Diego, they will not win the division. And if they lose the series the next weekend, which is this past weekend, because it's Sunday and I really consider the weekend over now, over. Like if they got swept by Arizona, which they didn't, but if they did got swept 4 straight, the division would be between Arizona and Colorado. That would take the Dodgers out of the division. So obviously, huge series win against Arizona. Definitely not the end. Definitely not the beginning of the end. We still got a division to win. We still got a World Series to win, but that's putting the cart before the horse. What needs to happen is they need to win games coming up. They're going to win games against the Mets. The Mets are another team that has not been doing very well this year, and it's a perfect opportunity for them to put games on Arizona and Colorado, which is now what you're in this time period of the season. Now that you're in first place, you got to hold on to it and add to it. You can't just be content with a half-game lead in the first week of September. And the flip side of this has got to be a killer for Arizona because the Dodgers were coming off of 5 straight wins against last place teams, and Arizona really had a chance to bury them. They had all this momentum. Guys are starting to get hot again. They're starting to hit with runners in scoring position. And all 4 of these games are pitchers' duels. And the Dodgers started to go back to what they were, in the St. Louis series. They would strike out a lot, leave a lot of runners on base. And, Arizona really had a chance to, shove them back down the stairs because they're climbing up the stairs and they're now at the top of the stairs. But as they're knocking on the door, Arizona had a chance to shove them right back out. And they blew it. They realistically could have won all 4 of these games. Game 1, they did win. Game 2, it was just a case of Justin Turner's a great hitter, and he turned a not terrible pitch into a home run. These losses were caused by walks. 3 of the 5 runs that were scored by the Dodgers in the games on Sunday and Saturday night came because of walks. And I should note that the 2 runs that scored tonight, Sunday night or afternoon, depending on what your time zone is, scored because of walks. This was Arizona's series to win. They could have had the Dodgers buried. And the other thing I'll say about this, I was listening to it on radio, and Rick Monday was talking about how he thought that Matt Kemp would be walked. I don't know why Arizona didn't do that, because you had less than 2 outs. So you have runners on second and third as well. So there's no force out. So anything except for a strikeout or like a ground ball back to the pitcher is probably going to get a run in because the runners are going on contact. So I'm not an analytics person or a baseball manager, but in that situation, I would think to load the bases because you want to get a double play in order. Or if not a double play, a possible force at home to take away the sacrifice fly. But they didn't, and we know what happened. The other thing I will question is, why did they bring in Archie Bradley, who Matt Kemp had homered off of the night before? Just seems like you're setting it up for that situation to happen again. I mean, just my 2 cents, it was probably a good baseball move. They were probably thinking, hey, this guy is in there to get outs. But what they didn't take into account is that Matt Kemp has a great batting average against Archie Bradley. So, Arizona made a mistake. That's really it. That's what I have to say about it. Thanks for tuning in to the first episode of Freeway Findings. There will be stuff coming up soon. I will be making some videos on this channel and over on Sports from Coast to Coast. For this channel, I want to talk more about the Dodgers acquisitions and how I think they've been. My opinions have changed a lot, so I'm kind of happy that I waited. The professional reason, I should say, of why I've waited is because I wanted to wait for August acquisitions, but probably the more truthful reason is that I was just lazy. And the other thing is I also have a video to make about LeBron James. I had already made that earlier, but my audio file got corrupted, so I've just been lazy and not wanting to make it again. But yeah, so I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next time on Freeway Findings. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel and also Sports from Coast to Coast. Thank you very much. Peace. Go Dodgers.